Briar Rose is an intelligent and arrogant female hero from Fable and Fable the Lost Chapters. She serves as a competitor and later a companion of the hero of Oakvale. So obviously in this video we'll be talking about Briar Rose as a character and a hero, going through her backstory and eventually coming to the later parts of the story where you can make a choice regarding her. So let's get straight into it.
So Briar Rose came from a noble background, but her family fell on hard times when she was a child. Her mother died in an accident Briar could not have prevented, and her father cast her out for not doing anything to stop her mother's death. She was left alone and had to fend for herself, and eventually she joined the Heroes Guild. She found in books the companionship she always longed for as a child.
She is more of a scholar than a fighter, and relies more on intelligence and skill rather than physical strength. And obviously in the games we see that she has a lot of information to impart to the hero, even if she does do it in a sort of snooty and arrogant way.
So when the apprentice who would eventually become the hero of Oakvale began to make his mark on Albion, performing minor quests, he attracts some attention and derision, as mentioned before, snooty, of Briar Rose early on, who meets him in Bowerstone, showing off her trophies to admiring villagers, even though their adoration purportedly annoys her. Like Thunder, Briar Rose, as a veteran hero, views the hero of Oakvale as an unskilled upstart, treating him with disdain and the same immense arrogance that she displays to most.
It is possible to work with Briar Rose on a side quest called Darkwood Disturbance. Having heard of the hero's many exploits since their original meeting, Briar Rose specifically requested the hero's aid as an escort to fight off minions while she closes a portal that a summoner is attempting to use. Should the hero complete this quest, Briar Rose will finally display both appreciation and respect for the hero's abilities. And in this quest actually there's it definitely confused me when I was first playing the game. There's this armor set in Darkwood that's sort of sitting on a pedestal, and on the way through, sort of looking at it, you expect it to be used later on, and this is sort of where it becomes a thing, I guess. So
it turns out it was just a summoner, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So you're expecting some sort of crazy, like, ancient armor, but it's just like a summoner trying to bring one of those big, like, the big summoners that shoot the fireballs later on. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's also, I don't know if was that factored into the original Fable. I don't think it was. I think that was just for TLC.
Maybe, yeah, you could be right.
It's like the bordello on the other end of the lakes also wasn't in the original Fable, just in TLC.
Yeah.
So, although the Snowspire Oracle reveals that Briar Rose originally travelled far beyond the shores of Albion in search of knowledge, she eventually came to stay in the continent because of her respect for the hero of Oakvale. This may have been a driving factor in her offer of assistance to the hero of Oakvale in his investigations in the Northern Wastes following the first death of Jack of Blades. Like Scythe, Briar Rose lends her considerable knowledge to the hero, helping them uncover the mysteries involved in unlocking the Bronze Gate to battle the reincarnated Jack. When the heroes realize that they need to collect souls of a certain criteria, Briar Rose helps the hero collect said souls. I mean, she doesn't really help, she doesn't really go and fight with us, actually. She just tells us which ones. Anyway, as one of those criteria is the soul of a female hero, it is possible for the hero to kill Briar Rose and use her soul for this purpose. This decision is up to the player.
Yeah, so this is the decision I was talking about earlier. I think either way, by the time of the other Fable games, she is dead. But it is definitely sort of up to you whether you want to be, the sort of evil or good hero, whether you want to use her soul or not. So her next sort of, I guess, reference is in Fable 3. The hero can obtain the pistol Briar's Blaster. It is unknown whether this actually belonged to her or whether it was just named after her.
I think we can assume that it never belonged to her, though, given
there's a high chance
no way it would have been around at that time.
Yeah.
But it may have been something named after her, possibly. I mean, does she?
Although Briar is, she doesn't really have a, I guess, monopoly on the word Briar itself. So it could be anyone, but I guess if it's in the spirit of Fable, it probably was just named after her. And
so maybe this blaster should be renamed Chekhov's gun then, if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, you'd think. So although she mostly uses her katana in combat, she's also capable of using some other spells as well. She can use a physical shield to protect herself, and she also uses force push when overwhelmed by enemies. So I guess she's a Jedi now too. Should the hero of Oakvale choose to fight her, she can be seen using her own unique spell. Briar Rose will actually multiply herself while surrounding the player with her illusions. If the player does not destroy all of the illusions in time, Briar Rose will then dispel all her remaining illusions and deal damage to the player. I think based on how many is left, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think I've only ever done that once. Actually, for all the we'll get to this probably in a minute, but for all the like snootiness and derision that you get early on from her, I actually prefer her to Whisper in so many ways. Anyway, not least because she actually does stuff. She's actually helpful. And yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much Briar Rose. We've got some trivia for you guys here that we'll just get through. So Briar Rose was actually the given name of the princess in the Brothers Grimm version of the story Sleeping Beauty.
Yep, in Fable the Lost Chapters, in the Northern Wastes, Briar Rose has actually visibly gotten older with a few wrinkles and greying hair, which is really, really interesting.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to age as quickly as we do, though.
Yeah, definitely. She probably has some sort of like anti-aging potion or something, like the Guildmaster.
Yep. If you look on the table behind her when you first meet her in Bowerstone, you see her trophies on display, a few of which are the same as ones that you get later in the game, such as the severed trader's head.
Yep, at one stage of the game, the hero has the option of killing Briar Rose, as we said, as he does with every other significant hero in the game, with the exception of Scythe. As we've talked about, the hero would not be able to kill Scythe, so obviously he is the only one that is sort of exempt from the hero's massacre if you choose to do that.
Yes.
So yeah, Briar Rose is a killable character.
She holds her katana backwards when seen fighting in the Lost Chapters. During the battle with her, she may say different lines depending on the hero's alignment, saying, "I thought you were a good guy," referring to a pure good hero, and "No need to get horny while fighting me, love, if the hero is evil."
Yikes. On occasion, she might spout out a random comment when you use Infernal Wrath or Divine Fury on her, saying, "Ha, using magic." Like mother, like son, I suppose, which could be an off reference to her fighting Scarlet Robe at some point in the past. And most likely losing, let's be real.
Yeah, obviously. In the developer codes for the game, there are 3 different versions of Briar. Villager, where the hero first meets her in the guild and the Bowerstone pub. Briar, the character model used when you speak to her at Archon Shrine. And Boss Briar, if you choose to fight her for her soul.
Yep, although she is considered a hero of skill, during the game she's not seen carrying any kind of range weaponry, which again sort of just goes to show that I think some characters, they may be a skill-focused hero rather than like a strength-focused hero, despite the fact that they use like a melee weapon. I think maybe at one point the game was intended to have the difference between swords be a bit more important, so like the katanas versus just like the great swords, and the one-handed swords versus the great swords as well, but I guess that never really happened, so she's considered a hero of skill despite the fact that she uses melee and magic.
Yeah, I guess they had to have someone being the hero of skill, and they've gone with being book smart as the skill.
Yeah.
I guess so. From so that's the end of the actual trivia. I guess now is into a bit of our talks. So I always found her to be, I guess, a bit like the Hermione of Fable. I don't know if there was any influence there at all, or whether that's just a character that generally comes up in literary purposes a lot, but she does have a lot of that kind of Hermione snootiness earlier on, and that kind of book smart, I'm smarter than you, even if I'm not braver than you, eventually transitioning into a bit of respect and I guess admiration for you. That's why she supposedly sticks around, and maybe the long story is that she might actually be your canon love interest after the events. Just saying, is she still alive? Maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely like a reasonable chance that she is, which I guess is interesting. There's not like too many heavy implications of that, but I think the fact that she stays behind and has like the admiration and whatnot for the hero definitely is enough to leave it as a sort of open-ended question. Maybe she is.
Well, also Briar is referenced to being named after the Brothers Grimm version of Sleeping Beauty, and tells me that there's something there that maybe they didn't end up finishing up on, which is pretty much Lionhead in general. But maybe she's from a previous time, or maybe she was originally slated to be a future entry again, via some kind of sleeping, spell or something. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to put my theory out there that she's a canon love interest, and therefore the person that you procreate and keep the Archon's line going with.
Yeah, I think that would definitely make sense. And again, I think it's sort of already proven that Lionhead didn't get around to finishing absolutely everything that they intended to finish in terms of romance options and things like that. So yeah, I definitely think that's a pretty sound theory, and it would be interesting to I guess see what other people think in the comments, so let us know. With that, that's basically everything we have on Briar Rose. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you in the next video.